Hello everybody and greetings from Vienna from the Austrian Film Museum, Österreichisches Filmmuseum. My name is Michael Loebenstein. I am the director of the Austrian Film Museum, and actually my work on Erich von Stroheim's Blind Husbands started more than a decade ago when I was a junior curator at the Film Museum. In the 1980s, the archivist of the Austrian Film Museum took in a nitrate version of Blind Husbands in the German dubbed Austrian distribution version. A man had contacted the Film Museum, having found that nitrate copy when clearing out an attic in Burgenland, which is one of the countryside southern provinces of Austria. So it was one of those finds when a film from movie history actually shows up in a localized version forgotten by time for several decades. When comparing the known American version of Blind Husbands and this nitrate print, we figured out that the Austrian version was not only slightly longer, but also more complete in terms of its image. The version that is universally known all derives from a print preserved at MoMA in the 1940s, which came from a re-edited as well as recopied version of the film. The Austrian nitrate not only preserved the original silent film aspect ratio, so the full frame composition that Erich von Stroheim went for, it was also 7 minutes longer, including longer version of scenes and slightly different sequencing. Over the course of more than 10 years, it became apparent that a restoration of this film would be a very special event in the history of commemorating Erich von Stroheim. Not only is it a masterpiece, I think one of the most stunning debuts in film history of somebody with no previous directorial experience who actually mastered the language of narrative silent cinema immediately. But it is also the only work directed and written by Erich von Stroheim that was shown in cinemas the way that Erich von Stroheim envisioned it. All subsequent films were subject to either censorship, cutting by the production company, or even replacement by Stroheim through other directors. For the restoration of Blind Husbands, the team of the Austrian Film Museum, led by our archivist Janneke van Dalen, compared not only our nitrate print and the MoMA version, but also the existing documentation. Through the help of film historian Richard Kozarski, as well as Janice Simpson from Universal Archives, we managed to acquire the list of intertitles as well as the final schedule of the film, describing every single scene, all of the intertitles, as well as the color scheme of every scene. Thereby, we could attempt at reconstructing, on the basis of our print, the American premiere version from 1919. So what you see now is an approximation, but a very close approximation, of what audiences would have seen in the year 1919 going to the cinema to see Erich von Stroheim's debut Blind Husbands, a film that cemented his reputation not only as a great director, but also as the Dirty Hun, as he was called, a certain European sensibility. An approximation because of the fact that we will never, for sure, know what an original nitrate film print would have looked like in an original cinema accompanied by an orchestra. The colors you are going to see were recreated digitally based on all of the existing documentation and after long, in-depth consultation with our dear colleagues in the United States. It is a simulation, but we believe a very effective one, and one that comes from deep scholarly reflection of the work of Erich von Stroheim. I'm very glad that the film can be shown here tonight, in a place that is very, very dear to my heart and that I visited several times, So I hope you enjoy Blind Husbands.